Sure, you can put in the hours, deliver amazing work, and have a great attitude, and hope that you're making the impact you want. All of these elements play into how you're perceived. In other words, your brand story. Sharing your thought leadership and subject matter expertise can build your credibility. And a perfect place to tell these stories is on LinkedIn. The global platform is way more than a place to look for a job or recruit talent. In fact, it's the place where you can connect with customers, peers, and potential partners. You also can use LinkedIn to network and learn through their online courses. My name is Sharon Delaney McCloud. In the Get LinkedIn or Left Out webinar I'm leading with Big View, you'll learn the 12 steps to becoming a LinkedIn All-Star. I'll show you how to improve your profile with a few top tweaks, and we'll do a live demo and take your questions. See you soon.
Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Big View Workshop today. I'm Robin Levin, your host, and you are in for a treat. You're going to learn all about LinkedIn. So we want to hear from you. Tell us, where are you tuning in from today? I see South Africa and a lot of other places. So the way for you to participate is use the chat in YouTube or wherever you're watching from. And if you have questions, let us know. This is an interactive workshop. We'll go for about 45 minutes to an hour. Yes, it's recorded. So don't worry, you can always catch the replay. And if you are watching the replay, you can also chat there as well. If we haven't met, my name is Robin Levin. My company is Robin Levin Media, a marketing and PR consulting firm based in Florida. For 17 years, we've been helping entrepreneurs and experts like you watching dramatically increase brand awareness through storytelling using the power of PR and video. And proud to say that we've been getting our clients featured in their dream publications like the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Entrepreneur, and even on the Today Show. So speaking of today, we do have a couple of offers for you, and I'll be sharing those a little bit later. One is, if you do want to learn more about PR, how to get your story told and get your message out in a huge way, you'll want to sign up for that one. So now it is my big pleasure to introduce our expert today, Sharon Delaney McCloud. She's going to be telling you all about LinkedIn, and I can't wait to hear her latest tips because things change frequently and this is important information. So let's get started. Welcome, Sharon.
Robin, thank you so much for the lovely introduction. And I'm delighted to know you're okay in Florida, because those of us watching even from around the world recognize that a hurricane is over you right now. So I'm glad you're safe and sound.
Thank you.
Hello to all the folks who are joining us from all over the world. I love it. People from Europe and from South Africa, as you mentioned, from the West Coast, from the Midlands, everywhere. So it's nice to be here with you all. You are joining Get LinkedIn or Get Out. And I like to preface this, and Robin, I think in the old days or for a long time, people thought that LinkedIn was only for job hunting or for recruiting. Is that what you might have thought for a while?
100%. In fact, one of my first videos on YouTube was how to use LinkedIn, learn 5 ways in 5 minutes, which is a riot. So, I mean, I just did that from my webcam. And back then it was really how to use it to build your profile and your visibility. But you're right. Most people thought it was for job hunting. So it's changed.
And I think that some people are like, well, why do I want to spend this time on building out my LinkedIn profile? I'm not interested in looking for another job. But everything has changed. LinkedIn is the platform for professionals. End of story. I think a lot of people used to use Twitter for that, but as we know right now, Twitter's in flux, in case you haven't read the headlines.
Yes.
LinkedIn is where we can all connect. It's where you can build your personal brand, your professional brand. I'll use that term interchangeably, because when I say personal brand, I don't want people to be thinking about how many followers do you have on Instagram. But for some people, Instagram is where they're making a living. So I don't mean to downplay that at all. But on LinkedIn, you have a brand. And we're going to talk about what that means for you in your career and how you become a subject matter expert and a thought leader in your industry. So, with that, I would like to go ahead and share some slides that are going to help all of you watching today how to become a LinkedIn All-Star. So, are we ready to get started with this? You ready, Robin?
Absolutely. Let's go.
Okay, so let me show you what we're going to be going through today. We're going to unpack what's in it for me. Why do I need to spend the time on this? I already spend time over on my Instagram and my Facebook. Why do I have to do one more thing? I'll explain why it's really important you do so for your professional journey. We're going to also talk about the LinkedIn algorithms because, as Robin mentioned at the very top, things are constantly changing. And this is perfect timing for this workshop today because a new algorithm report just came out this week, and I just updated my slide deck to include the latest, greatest information for how you can get better traction on LinkedIn, meaning be found easier. Then we're going to go through the 12 steps to becoming a LinkedIn All-Star. Plus, we'll do a live demo, and I'm going to show you some useful hacks as well as some advanced tools that will help you to build out your profile. Now, I do want to preface that if there are any questions, pop them in the chat. Robin and I are going to be answering those in real time. So please do ask your questions along the way. We want this to be more of a conversation. But let's begin with talking about your personal professional brand. I'm going to bring this up full screen so you can see this. Your personal brand is the intersection of how you see yourself and how others see you. I said that I like to use the word professional and personal brand interchangeably, but this is where that intersection lies, how you see yourself combined with how others see you. And if you think that you're not a brand, guess what? You already are. I challenge you. All you have to do is Google your name. Even if you've never touched a computer in your life, which clearly all of you have because you're here with us now, but your name shows up in lots of different places. Are you controlling that? Do you have an idea of where those areas are where your online brand is? So you might as well take control of that because your name is out there, whether it's on white pages or these various profiles that it could appear that you may not even know it. So it's incredibly important that you take control of what's out there with your name and your brand. Now let's talk more about why LinkedIn matters as when we're talking about your online brand. Take a look at these statistics. LinkedIn has 700 million users around the world. 40% of those users are taking advantage of the platform every day in some form or fashion. 90 million users are senior level influencers, meaning they are VP or executive levels in their companies. 63 million users are decision makers. 17 million are considered opinion leaders. 10 million are C-suite executives. And LinkedIn drives more than 50% of all social media traffic to B2B websites, to company or professional websites, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're at an enterprise level organization. 50% of social media traffic to those websites is coming from LinkedIn. 41% of millionaires use LinkedIn, and 44% of LinkedIn users take home $75,000 plus per year. And also, LinkedIn can help you find your ideal customer. Another reason why you should be thinking about using LinkedIn is the obvious is relationship building and finding connections. And nowadays, it's even more important because so many of us are working remotely. Would love to hear in the chat who works in a remote environment today. Robin, do you work remotely?
Well, I like to say I work wherever there's Wi-Fi and a water view.
I love it. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, Alejandra says, yes, I do. And yes, hello from Finland. Yes. And Israel. Hi from Israel, Orlando, Cape Town. Just getting that. And yes, do tell us, Do you work from home, remotely? Yes. And do you use LinkedIn? I'd love to see a poll on that one.
Indeed. Yeah. It looks like so many people are working remotely. Some people, Chris works hybrid. Yeah. A lot of folks hybrid and remote. I love what you're
Yes.
doing, Robin, wherever there's water and a view.
Wi-Fi. Yes.
And Wi-Fi.
Portugal.
Yes.
Portugal was my last place for about 6
Oh,
weeks.
love
Yes.
it. Yes. And I'm so glad there's LinkedIn users here, but we all can be learning something new about how we're using it. Here's the thing. If you're working remotely, how are you making connections in your industry, in your line of work with other peers? LinkedIn is where you can be doing this. You can be creating your own groups on LinkedIn for people who are interested in the same kinds of things you are professionally. And so it is a place for us to network. And for those of us who are working remotely or hybrid, this is where you should be spending some time. There's
Yes.
also some not so obvious reasons we should be on LinkedIn. It's because you can become a powerful amplifier for your organization. It's the ability for you to be teaching, to be using thought leadership in a way where you can share your subject matter expertise. And LinkedIn gives us scale like never before. I'm going to share with you a case study that was such a game changer in the last 2 years. 2 years ago, M&F Bank, which is a Black-owned bank in North Carolina, they have 11 branches across the state of North Carolina. It's a historical bank. It started more than 100 years ago. And as a community bank, they really know how to service their own communities. And there was a bank branch manager who lived in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Her name is Eleanor. And on a Saturday night, she was going to bed and she decided to just check her email very quickly before she went to bed. And she saw an email from LinkedIn that she had a direct message. Now, there are ways you can change your notifications on the back end of LinkedIn. Some people like to turn off the email notifications because they get so much spammy stuff, like every single financial planner under the sun has reached out asking if they can manage my money, right? Or every insurance salesperson, people I don't know reaching out with direct messaging. So some people have turned off their notifications. Luckily, Eleanor did not. She was going to bed again on a Saturday night at 11 o'clock, got this message from LinkedIn that there was a direct message. So she opened up and it was a woman from Netflix saying, "Hi, do you work at M&F Bank in North Carolina? And can you confirm if M&F Bank is a Black-owned bank?" Eleanor said, "Oh, yes." She answered back immediately. "Yes, I'm in fact a branch manager here in Winston-Salem. And yes, we are a Black-owned bank in North Carolina." Well, guess what happened the next week? Netflix announced that it was moving $100 million in cash to numerous Black-owned banks in the United States. And guess who was on the list? Because Eleanor answered the email. M&F Bank. What? I mean, talk about a game changer for M&F Bank. It has literally changed the dynamics and the paradigm at their bank simply because she had the notification on and she responded to that LinkedIn email. She made it much easier for the Netflix contact to find them. Right? There you go. There's so many amazing stories about how LinkedIn has created opportunity for people. Let's get down to business. Before we move on, is there anyone with a question? Happy to take some questions. Yeah, happy to take some questions.
One was they would like to learn more about LinkedIn Live, which is excellent because I know you're going to be sharing that. Woohoo!
I am, and we're actually on LinkedIn Live right now. Whether you're watching on YouTube or you could be watching on Big View, you can watch LinkedIn Live or my profile. I don't know if you have it turned on for yours, Robin, but you can give permission from our webinar to have this live on your LinkedIn profile. Yes, I will be talking about LinkedIn Live as one of our advanced tools that is available for everyone now. It didn't used to be, but now it is available for everyone. All right, let's get down to business about how you should be engaging with LinkedIn. First thing you want to think about is who is your audience. And it depends on what your line of work might be. If you are in healthcare or if you're in finance or technology, you need to be following thought leaders in those industries and then think about how can I create some conversations around that? And you begin by engaging with other people that you admire or that you're following, and then you start the conversation yourself. So again, looking for thought leaders that you admire in your industry. Also think about pain points, things that you can be solving with your line of work. Are there issues that you can be speaking to? And then also reaching out to your colleagues, not only people that work at your current company, but people across the industry, people that you used to work with. That's some of the people that you should be engaging with. And then let's look at the hierarchy with the algorithm. This was what was in the last 6 months, this had been what was the accepted theory of how your posts would be shown. So a text post plus an uploaded document. A lot of people don't realize you can actually upload a document. Like we're talking, you have a collateral material or a brochure about your company. You can actually upload a PDF into a post. And that tells the algorithm that there's an extra piece of content. So that's something that you should think about doing. You also can natively upload a video. And that means rather than just putting a link to a YouTube or a Vimeo video, actually upload an MP4 file or a MOV file into a post. The next is a text post. And then a text post plus an uploaded photograph or image. And then last but not least is an external link if you're just sharing an outside link. LinkedIn doesn't want you to be sending people away from their platform. So if you say, oh, take a look at this funny YouTube video, and then you're asking people to click on that link and sending them off the LinkedIn platform over to YouTube. They don't want that. They want people to stay on their platform. So if you're just sharing that, you're not going to get seen in as many people's feeds. Now, the number one thing you can do right now to get your profile and your posts in front of more people is to engage in whatever you're putting out there, meaning if you put out a post and then someone responds to your post by saying, oh, congratulations on that new client you just won. Then go on and underneath that, continue that conversation. Thank you. I found this client by going to XYZ conference. Have you ever been to XYZ conference? Start a conversation on your own posts. So don't just put it out there and forget it. Continue the conversation within your own posts. Then the next thing you need to do is comment on other people's posts, right? If someone puts out something that's interesting, if they put out a poll, engage in the poll. It's engagement. That's exactly right. Yeah, Valerie, yes, engagement, engagement, engagement. Use the platform. Don't just post it and forget it. Go on there and look at that conversation and then use real language. Don't use all the fancy SAT words or, all the fanciest things. Just use normal human speak, okay? The next thing that we want to talk about is I mentioned that this week, and so, gosh, Bruno, we couldn't have picked a more perfect time for us to be doing this webinar. The 4th annual LinkedIn algorithm research report was just released. Robin, you're in PR and we love the newest stuff. Here we go. Here is the absolute newest research. 67% of our LinkedIn feeds only contain 4 types of content. So all this stuff that we've been thinking we've been doing well for the last 6 months to a year is changing. Derek, you're right. Speak at a 7th grade level, a copywriter once told me. Yes, I used to be a newscaster and they used to rewrite my stuff saying, you're talking too fancy. Speak like a real person. All right, so let's talk about these 4 pieces of content that LinkedIn is really awarding people by showing it to more people in feeds if you do these 4 things. Number 1, a single image post. I know I want to put multiple images when I've been to a conference, for example. They are saying that 21% of your organic image posts are being discovered more so than stock image posts. So if you have the ability to upload, and they can tell what's a stock image, like a Getty image, as opposed to a photo that you've taken with your own smartphone and uploaded it to the platform, they recognize that. So keep that in mind. 21% of single image posts that you've taken the picture yourself are being seen more than a stock image post. Number 2, if it feels like your feed is more crowded with promoted content, meaning someone who's boosted it or added money behind it, you were not imagining in that. That is absolutely true. 2 years ago, promoted or boosted paid for posts made up 13% of our feeds. Now it's jumped to more than 50%. So have you noticed that? Has anybody noticed that in their feeds, that you're seeing a lot more sponsored content? I know that happened on Facebook. I feel like almost all of my feed on Facebook is now cluttered with paid content. And now that's happening at LinkedIn. They're monetizing it. But that still gives us 50% of the feed to put up our other stuff. Now, for some of you, it may be worthwhile for you to promote or put a little boost behind your post. I would be curious, Robin, with some of your clients in PR, do you all ever boost your content?
Sure. But not as often as, the ratio between organic and boost, I would say 10 to 20%, no more.
Okay. Yeah, and LinkedIn tends to be more expensive than other platforms.
Now, I have to go back to point number 1 for a second. When you said a single image, I know you compared it to stock image versus your own images. But are you also saying a single image versus 5 images? If you're at a conference and you want to take a bunch of pictures and share that, or 1 image?
According to this research that came out this week, it says a single image. Now, I would recommend also, when you're uploading that single image, it offers you the opportunity to add an alt text. Does everybody know what alt text means? That means alternative text, and that means you are being inclusive. You'll also get rewarded by LinkedIn for making sure your image is inclusive. So if it's a picture of the North Carolina Women's Conference, where I was just speaking at earlier this week, when I uploaded that picture of me and one of the other speakers, I put the alt text, Sharon Delaney McCloud and Larry Long pictured at the North Carolina Women's Conference.
Sharon, can you explain how people would do that if they haven't used that before?
Okay, I will show you that in the live demo. Okay, so when we get to that, I'll show you how to do the alt text. Okay, so again, Robin, this is brand new research. I thought putting multiple pictures would win, but now this is saying that 1 picture, and try to make it a picture that you've taken rather than stock. I did see there was a question about Canva, and woo, props to Canva. It's one of my favorite tools under the sun. And I'm wondering, that's a really good question. I'll have to find that out if LinkedIn considers a Canva photo like a stock photo. Because if you're using one of the photos that you grab from Canva's library, that I believe is considered stock. Now you can upload your own photo to Canva if you want to add graphics or different things. But I believe if you're using one of the photos from Canva, that would be considered stock.
Okay.
Did I answer your question, Robin? Because I know that's a little confusing, but I want to be as up to date with the newest research as possible.
You did. You definitely answered it. And there's a lot of good questions coming in. And I see people who have just tuned in. So yes, this is being recorded. For those of you that want the slides, yes, you will have access to all of this information for sure.
Okay.
And I think Sharon's going to get touched on this point a little bit later, but they want to know about Sales Navigator, some of the premium services, with so many features. How do you decide where to start?
Exactly. Yes. And I will absolutely get to this. All right. So here's another thing. This is a hidden gem of LinkedIn content. And according to this newest research that came out this week, document posts, which I did mention a couple of minutes ago, it being at the top of the hierarchy. Document posts are maybe a slide deck, or maybe you have a one-sheeter about your business, or like a brochure. Those that are added to a post are actually being seen 16%. They're being shown to 16% of your followers. The nature of that interaction by the viewing audience means that these types of posts are receiving lots of impressions. So maybe it's you're uploading whatever that thing is. Do you have a one-sheeter that you could share that maybe that people could click on, and maybe there's a way for them to download it? Oh, maybe you put the one-sheeter plus a link where they can grab it from your website, or can you start a conversation within the comments from there? So I think that's really interesting. I like to write blog posts. Maybe I put that in a one-sheeter rather than just as a web page with a link to it. So I'm going to test this out. Again, this is the absolute newest stuff that's coming out in research this week. All right. And finally, the number 4 thing that is dominating our feeds right now is by maximizing the time on your post and spurring comments and conversations. Text-only posts do continue to perform really well if there's engagement on it. Okay, not just one sentence or putting out a statement and then putting it out there and forgetting it. If you can ask or put on your post something that's really provocative that gets people to engage in it, and then you continue to engage in the comments below it, that is actually creating 10% of what's being shown to your followers.
Okay, I have a picking up on your engagement point, which is excellent. Everybody that's watching, I think that you should go to your LinkedIn after we're finished today, and find the Big View post on today's session. I know you're enjoying this information with Sharon. So find the Big View message that they put out about the workshop, comment on it, and reshare it, repost it. And there's a little test for yourself. And it's great feedback for Big View and for Sharon. So give that one a try, and that will help all of our engagement. Yes. Reba,
Absolutely.
yes, thank you.
Okay. What I see, one of the questions is, do you have to have the premium package on LinkedIn to do this? No, you do not. All the things that we're talking about today is free. When I did mention about boosted or promoted posts, those are posts that you can add money to get it seen by more people. But no, to create and upload and do all these things, free. So is LinkedIn Live. So I'm writing down the things that I need to show people. So alt text, as well as how to upload a document. I make sure all of these things are shown in our live demo, which I'll be going through in just a few minutes. So the next piece, what you see or who you see in your feed. So let's think about this reverse. Who you're seeing in your feed is also determined by your actions. When you engage in other people's content, it increases the chances of seeing more of their content. This is especially important for salespeople. Get your prospects to engage with your content, and they'll keep seeing more of your content, right? So you see, it's a reciprocal thing. If you engage on other people's content, then they're going to see more of your content, right? Do you see how one feeds off the other, almost like a halo effect? There are certain behaviors, again, that are increasing the chance of seeing the next post from the same author. Again, a reciprocal thing. If you're liking, that increases they're seeing yours or you're seeing their content by 30%. Commenting increases it 70%. Sharing someone else's post or someone sharing yours increases it by 80%. A direct message, 85%. New connections. Your new connections will get to see your content for the next 2 weeks. Let me say that again. So if you accept a new connection, they're going to see your content, everything you put out for the next 2 weeks. So if you're in sales, that's incredibly important.
Absolutely. So keep this in mind that this is brand new information, because there is a comment here. David said, I used to reshare posts and found that they got very little engagement. And in fact, I was told resharing content is bad for the algorithm. And so again, Sharon is giving you the latest information that's working right now, because as we all know, social media can change like that.
It does continue to change. And I'm going to drop into the chat this report that I'm talking about. I'm going to put it in the chat so you all can read the full report. This is where I'm pulling from. And this is someone who is a thought leader on LinkedIn. They do all their work on LinkedIn. And so I'm crediting this. This is where I've pulled this information from. So again, I'm glad you brought that up, Robin. They're constantly changing the algorithm. So this is what the report is saying. So we'll have to see. I think this is a trial and error type of situation where we're all kind of testing it. All right, the next thing is LinkedIn now has 2 engagement phases, okay? So this is when you put a post out, there are 2 actual phases of when you're going to engage. So let's look at engagement time number 1. The first 90 minutes influences the growth for the next 8 hours. So and I'm going to show you what I call the golden hour in just a moment. And I'm going to demonstrate how a post that I put out. And if you put out a post, what I say is kind of babysit it for the first hour, but this is saying the first 90 minutes, babysit a post and see who's engaging. And if they make a comment, you jump in there and make a comment on their comment. Okay. And so the first 90 minutes is the first phase. Here's the next phase. Engagement after the first 90 minutes to 8 hours influences constant growth over the next several days. All right. So let's break down here, because then you're like, well, how many times should I be posting? LinkedIn is not Twitter. I think a lot of people post a lot on Twitter. I post maybe 2 times a week on LinkedIn. Some people post once a week. Some people post every day. But here's the thing. You put out a post. The next post you put out, it washes away the one you just had before. It stays on your profile in your activity feed. But as far as LinkedIn showing it to other people, whatever new thing you put up replaces what you just had on there. Does that make sense? So I don't like to post a ton. I maybe post 2, maybe 3 times a week. This is a particularly busy week for me as a speaker, so I'm posting more on LinkedIn than I usually do. But don't feel like you have to be posting something new all the time. But what you do need to do is engage on other people's posts. If you posted something on Monday and you see someone on Wednesday commented on it, go in and engage on that comment. Right? So that really is what's important. Okay. How does LinkedIn, again, share your content? So let's look at this again. I mentioned a second ago that it's showing it to your new connections for the next 2 weeks. Anything you put out, your new connections are going to see it. Then the next group of people is your connections, not the new ones, but your connections that you've had before. Then your followers. Do you all know that there's a difference between your connections and your followers? People can follow you without connecting with you. I'll show you how you can see that in our live demo. Then mutual hashtag followers. Those are people who, if I'm following keynote speakers, hashtag keynote speakers, those would be my mutual hashtag followers. If I'm following, when I use the hashtag professional development, those other people who use that hashtag, my content gets shared in front of them also. So that's why it's important to use hashtags. Up to 3 hashtags per post is what in all the research I've been doing, that's what it says. And then group members. I'd love to know. Oh, look at that. The leadership mixologist. Shireen, I love that. All right. Who is a member of a group on LinkedIn? Does anybody have any group members on LinkedIn?
A question earlier, Sharon, was somebody wanted to know more about the groups. So maybe just touch on the group feature itself first.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Here's an example of a group, and I'd be curious, Robin, if you're a member of a group. So I created a group on LinkedIn myself called Life After TV News. And it was designed for TV journalists who were wanting to leave the business, because I left television news 15 years ago. And I wanted to start a group to speak to other colleagues who had either already left or who were looking to leave, to help us find our way, because we needed to know what was our next step in the professional journey. Another LinkedIn group that would be an example is an alumni group from your alma mater, from your university or college. I'm a member of an alumni group on LinkedIn from Florida State University, and then a subgroup of graduates of the College of Communications from Florida State University. Robin, are you a member of any LinkedIn groups?
I am, Temple University, and also I studied abroad for a year, so I'm a member of that university as well. And professionally, and also photography and travel. So for sure, you can think of it beyond just professional, education, your hobbies, your interests. Absolutely. And I've used groups in the earlier days of LinkedIn to help promote conferences and get excitement and build engagement around upcoming events.
Those are excellent examples. Yes, so I see here digital marketing groups. There are so many different examples. Yes, Cornell University alumni group. There, whatever your line of work is or your industry, I guarantee there's probably a group for it on LinkedIn that you can meet others in that same space and begin some. This is where that networking can happen that we mentioned, especially if you're a remote worker. All right, I'd like to move on to the golden hour. I just showed you that the latest research says the engagement phase number 1 is that first 90 minutes after you put out a post. I call it the golden hour. The first hour after I put out a post, I babysit it. And let me show you what happened when I put something out. I'm going to bring this full screen. A year ago, I put out a post that I was leaving my own agency. You can see the top of the post says, "New beginnings." And I went on to explain that I left television news to start a digital marketing professional development agency. And now, after 15 years, I was leaving that to go into another profession. And I put it out there, and then I babysat it. Over the course of a week, I have 4,600 followers. But LinkedIn, do you see the red box on the bottom there? LinkedIn showed it to 26,500 people. What? It got so much traction. People were congratulating me for the decision I had made. And so as people put in comments, I jumped back in there and said, "Thank you so much. I'm really excited about this new opportunity." And so I had 26,566 views, 426 reactions, meaning people either liked or did just like a little hand clap. 234 comments. And again, I mentioned I only have 4,600 followers, but yet somehow LinkedIn showed it to 26,000 people. If there's any comments or questions about that, I'd love to hear it. I'm saying that golden hour is golden. Babysit that post. Okay, if there's no questions, I'm going to move on.
There's a question. There's a few questions. Let me pose these because there's a few of them that are related around a business page and a personal profile.
Yes. Everything I'm talking about today comes from the lens of a personal profile. There are a lot of articles you can read out there about spending time on the company page. The company page actually looks quite different than the personal page, has different features, different capabilities. I do think it's important that if you are the person who manages your company's company page, I do think it's important to have a company page, because what you can do on your company page is you can create events. Like Big View created an event for today's webinar. You also can have several administrators on a company page. So for example, Bruno, Kevin, Philip, multiple people from Big View might have the ability to manage Big View's company page. They can put posts up there. They can add events up there. They can put job postings up there. I do think it is important to have a company page. But everything we're talking about today is related to a personal profile. It's a whole different webinar for a company page. But again,
maybe we should do one, Bruno and team. Let us know in the chat if you want to, maybe a second one to tag along onto this one. It's such great information, Sharon.
Thank you. Yes, I do think it is. Because the setup and the back end of a company page looks quite a bit different than a personal one. So that's why we would need 2 hours instead of one to talk about that. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to pop in the chat and add right now. And you don't need to open it right. Oh gosh, you know what? I need to, I don't know if I can actually add this to the chat on. Oh, I'm going to
Bruno can.
Bruno can. There we go. Bruno, in the private chat, I just added the document that is what I'm referring to right now with the 12 steps to all-star success. This is the link that you can download my document, but we're going to go through it right now, step by step. But you can grab this off of my Google Drive. But let's go ahead and get started with this. So let me just explain. I didn't make up the term all-star, right? All-star is LinkedIn's grading of your profile. So here's the way LinkedIn looks at it. You're either a beginner, intermediate, advanced, expert, or all-star. And my goal for all of you today is to become an all-star. The reason you want to do that is because you will show up in more people's feeds if you are all-star. And if you get nothing else from this today, the way to get to all-star is to fill out all the sections. That's it. I'm going to show you how to do that. But if you just fill out all the sections that are available to you, you will become an all-star. Let's go through each section. Step number 1, use a decent profile picture. You see the one on the left? Like this lady is probably maybe it's a personal picture that she took, which is totally fine, but it's blurry. You see like half of a husband or someone with her. Get at least, our iPhones or smartphones today are such high quality tools. You can use a decently taken cell phone picture. You absolutely can take a picture with your iPhone or smartphone, edit it and clean it up, and use that as your profile picture. You see how it's been cropped there from like a chest up, because we don't want it too close and we don't want it too far. You want to be able to have a decent profile picture. I get a lot of people who are requesting to connect with me that have no profile picture. You know what I think that is? Spam. Or someone trying to sell me something. I want to know you're a real person. So definitely put a profile picture. Step number 2, captivate readers with a strong headline. I'm going to show you how to do this in the demo, but don't just put your title and where you work, you now have the headline, which is the area right underneath your name, to put more about you. Because LinkedIn automatically on the right-hand side puts the company where you work. My friend John works at Abler 360, and he graduated from George Washington University School of Business. So that LinkedIn's automatically going to put that there for you. So on the left side, the headline, he has under there business development executive, digital accessibility advocate, DEI champion, TEDx speaker, board member, investor, author. In that quick headline, I've learned so much more about John than if he had just put in there business development at Abler. Step 3, complete the about section. LinkedIn is so much more than just a resume or CV. You can show people more about you and get to know you better. You have control over that. I would recommend that you use first-person language, not third-person language. So if you have a bio on your work website, that's usually written in third person. On LinkedIn, it's much better to write first person in a personal profile. It helps people learn more about you. This is an example of someone, a realtor in Massachusetts. When you look at hers, I love, if I ever win the lottery and I have the ability to buy a beach place in the Northeast, I'm hiring Katie Clancy. Look at the way she's written it. When I want the freshest oysters, I don't go to the fish counter at the grocery store. I go to John, the East Dennis oyster guy. When my husband wants a perfectly tailored suit, we don't go to the mall. We go to the Puritan Clothing in Hyannis. Do you see? This woman clearly is the location expert of Yarmouth Port, Massachusetts. This woman knows her area. She's going to be a great realtor. I mean, she could have done I've lived in this area for this many years and sold houses for this many years. She took it a step beyond. And you can do that too. All right. The experience, work, and volunteer sections. Please fill this out and don't just put what your title is. Put a little bit about what you do. What are some of the wins that you've had at your business? And use conversational terms. You don't just copy and paste your resume language in here. Use conversational terms to talk about what you do. I love the volunteer experiences because that helps me understand more about a person. When you look at my LinkedIn, you'll see that I volunteer for the St. Baldrick's Foundation, for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, for the Heart Association. I'm also a board member at a university and in their communications. You can learn a fuller picture about me simply by looking at where I volunteer. Step 5, do fill out your education, your courses, and your certifications. A lot of people don't realize that you can put your certifications on here as well. In your coursework, I didn't go to Harvard. This is someone else's. but on the Harvard part, she not only put a description of what she studied, but a little bit more about the courses that she took. Again, this helps start conversations when you're connecting with people. Step 6, add skills, expertise, and endorsements. This is telling the feed, the algorithm, the kinds of work that you do. So if someone is looking for a digital marketing expert, this is where you can put on there those skills that you have in digital marketing. That's why you want to go ahead and fill this out. The next is get connected. You need a minimum of 50 connections to get to all-star status. For people early in their career, that may seem like a lot, but you can connect with professors if you're still in college. You can connect with other peers who you go to school with, who maybe are studying the same major that you are. You can connect with people at the internship you might be doing. You can connect with your parents' colleagues at their work. So early career, this may feel like a heavy lift, but it's not. This is my one of my dear friends. She's got 500 plus connections. You need a minimum of 50 to get to all-star status. Step 8, critically important. You need at least 3 recommendations. These are people with whom you've worked. It could also be someone that you've volunteered at a nonprofit with. It doesn't necessarily have to be your boss or a direct report. It could be a peer. It could be someone, like I mentioned, that you volunteered with. You have to have a minimum of 3 to get all-star status. Now, here's how you ask for it. Offer to give one and then ask for one. Be reciprocal. You could say, I'm working on my LinkedIn profile. I'd really love to get a recommendation from you, and I'd be happy to give one back. What do you say? And then nudge them to get started with it. Step 9, you can secure a personal profile URL. If you look at my LinkedIn, I actually have my full name, Sharon Delaney McCloud. If you look on the right, you can see here one of my colleagues, Donald Thompson Jr. Another friend of mine is a professional speaker. She used to be an Air Force pilot. And so she goes by pilot speaker versus, and I'm making fun of my poor husband here, throwing him under the bus, Mike McCloud -855BA032. There's a lot of Mike McClouds on LinkedIn. So how do you know which one is which? You can actually create your own personalized one. Tell people what interests you. I love me some Brene Brown. Love her. Love Sarah Blakely and Adam Grant. That's a connection point. If you're looking to connect to someone, you can open up a direct message by saying, hey, I saw that you're also a big fan of Brene Brown. What is your favorite book she read? Mine is Dare to Lead. I'd love to connect with you because it seems like we're interested in some of the same things. So you see how you can start a conversation by filling out this part of your profile. Number 11, complete your contact information. This is the most surprising thing, Robin, that I find. People that I need to contact directly, I'll go to this section of their profile and I'll look, and they don't have anything filled out. Now, I would recommend that you don't put your phone number under this section because otherwise it'll get sent off to all the telemarketers. But this is a great place for you to put. It allows you to put more than one website. So I have my day job plus my speaker job websites up here. I have my work address, not my personal address. I have my personal email and my Twitter profile. So this is a great place to put that. And then finally, number 12, use the platform. If you just fill it out and then do nothing with it, you're not going to gain the benefit. Use the platform. So what does that look like? Here is a typical post, right? So when you see, it asks you, what do you want to talk about? And it actually gives you ideas. Do you want to celebrate an occasion? Do you want to find an expert? Do you want to share a profile? Do you want to create a job, create a poll, offer help? And then one of the questions we had is, how do you upload a document? Do you see on the left there, there's the plus sign, and you see the little camera, which means you can upload a photo. The middle is a video camera, which means you can upload a video. And then the little icon to the right is a document, a piece of paper, essentially. This is where you can upload a slide or a PDF. So for the person who asked that, that's where you do it. You also can create a poll. My friend Chuck Hester is a LinkedIn guru. He puts polls up all the time. Here's a little trick. Whenever LinkedIn puts out a new feature, people who jump on it and start using it, they will put it out all over the place. So my friend Chuck, when they added the poll feature, he started putting out a poll at least 2 or 3 times a week. And guess what? His poll got shown to everybody. You put out the poll, but then you babysit it. You go back in and you make sure that you're commenting on what people are putting in the poll. All right, very quickly, more using of the platform. Here's an example of what LinkedIn Live looks like. LinkedIn Live, there are actual blog posts from LinkedIn on how to register to do LinkedIn Live. You simply Google how to do LinkedIn Live. It'll give you the instructions. You'll get to the landing page and you click on it and you'll land on LinkedIn and you'll click on it and then it asks you to fill it out. almost like an application. And then it wants to make sure you're not a robot or a bot. And then within 24 to 48 hours, you'll get a notification that you've been granted the access to do LinkedIn Live. Now, LinkedIn Live is not the same as Facebook Live. You actually have to use a third-party platform like Restream or StreamYard. LinkedIn actually tells you which ones you can use, and they do have free versions of it for you to go live on LinkedIn. And then I just want to show you the benefits of LinkedIn Live. My friend Larry, who you see right here, he went from about 3,500 followers to 30,000 followers by using LinkedIn Live once a week. He does the midweek, midday motivational minute every Wednesday, and he grew his followers to 35,000. And now he's a full-time professional speaker. They all find him by using LinkedIn. So here's the summary. And Bruno, if you want to pop the link into the chat again so people don't have to scroll too far. Oh, I see someone, isn't 150 connections the minimum in order to go live? You know what? I didn't know that. I would have to Google that. I'm not sure. D Hem put that in the chat. I'm not positive. So utilize all the sections, ask and give recommendations, join and engage with groups, and publish articles is another way to do this. This is how you would publish an article. That's one of the ways that you can add content to your profile that can be super, super helpful. A couple of other things before I jump really quickly is please use a decent profile picture. Jot this down, pfpmaker.com. You can upload a headshot and create any number of gorgeous, look at all these backgrounds you can do, and download it for free. It's pfpmaker.com. Also, you can create your banner on there for free as well. PFP Maker allows it. Canva allows it. Vista Create allows it. These are all free ways to do this. All right, we are
Sharon,
running.
Sharon, just to let you know, we have been granted an extra 10 minutes. So since this is so valuable information, and for those of you that can stick around for an extra 10 minutes, we're going to keep going. And I do want to bring it back to video, though, before we go into the next part that you're going to talk about. We're all about videos. So let's talk about a couple of the questions. Where does video rank? And of course, use BigView to create your video. There is a special offer. If you're not a BigView user, you will get a 7-day free trial. That Bruno's going to pop in the link to that offer. But let's talk about video. How does it rank? Is it still important? All of that.
Yes. Now, as I said, that research that just came out this week talks about using an image. I need to dig into it a little bit more, but for the last couple of years, video has been the sweet spot. It has been the favorite child of all social media platforms, LinkedIn included. If you create an organic video using BigView and upload it to your profile, it is going to be shown to more people. I mentioned earlier, don't upload a great video that you've created on BigView, sticking it over on YouTube only, and then grabbing that URL from YouTube and put it into your post on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn doesn't want to send people away to YouTube. They want people to stay on LinkedIn. So the power of videos, you want to upload it natively to your profile.
And it's vertical or horizontal?
I prefer horizontal for LinkedIn. It's more real estate. Now, if you want to make a vertical version, that's great for an Instagram story. And you can—
How about Square?
Square works beautifully as well. Now, what I like, I like the horizontal because that looks nice on YouTube. But and the nice thing about BigView is you can duplicate and make every version of that in like 3 little steps. You just keep duplicating each one and resizing it and then upload it to the different platform. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Big View.
It is a beautiful thing. All right, let's go to the live demo. Okay, I am going
let's do
to,
it.
yes, and please start asking questions along the way.
And also give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying this. We love to see the thumbs up. That's that little feature that YouTube has. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thumbs up. Robin, can you see my, okay, this is my LinkedIn feed. So this is the feed when I just open up LinkedIn. Okay. Here's what I'm seeing.
Yes.
Oh, this is my friend Larry that I mentioned a second ago that has 30,000 viewers. Here, he uploaded a native video to his profile. Okay.
And it's horizontal, right? Hi, Larry. Yes.
Yeah, Larry, he is the king of LinkedIn. All right, so here's how you get to your own profile. So you can click on your name, and here we go. I'm going to jump into my profile. Oh, goodness gracious, look at that. You know what? It's showing us right now up on the header instead of my header, but that's okay. We can still get to everything else. All right, so here's where I'm talking about. If you recall, you can see I made my profile picture using that PFP maker. Sometimes I change out the background. You also can have a little video for your profile now. You have to use that. You have to upload that or make that using your mobile phone. But let's not talk about that right now because I want to get to the meat and potatoes so all of you can become all-star status. Here, right under my name is the headline. So this is where I'm putting more information about me other than just my job title and where I work, because LinkedIn is already putting UNC Health and then where I graduated from. You also can put cool icons. I'm a citizen of the world, so I'm a US citizen, an Irish citizen, and a Kenyan citizen. It also puts on there, it grabbed the different hashtags that I use the most. It automatically grabbed that. All right, so it shows here that I have 5,227 followers. But then click on here. How many connections do I have? 4,700, which means I have people following me but aren't connected to me. Do you understand the difference there?
Someone did ask the question, what is the difference between followers and connections?
So it means that I don't actually, I have not accepted a request for them to connect with me directly. And maybe they're not interested in connecting with me. Maybe they just want to follow my content. And I will say that celebrities oftentimes do not accept connections. If they're the fancier they are, the less likely they are to accept your connection. However, you can follow them. And so connection means you're willing to have a conversation with them. Okay. All right. So let's go down here. Here, do you see these little pencils? This is where you edit each section. All right. And then also, this is where you look at how you're doing your analytics. So you can look at, and this is private only to you. You can see how many profile views you've had. You can also look at your recent post impressions over the last 7 days. Let's click on that to see how some of my posts have done. It shows the content performance. Here we go. So biggest day, November 6th. All right.
Promoting this workshop, no doubt.
Exactly. And then what I love about it is, look, it can show you who's looking. Founders, board members, ministers. Oh, hello. Chief executive officers, special event coordinators. Then you can actually change. All right, well, what locations are people looking at me? Raleigh, Durham. That makes sense. This is where I live. Charlotte, Tallahassee, Savannah, Atlanta. Industries. Where are they looking at? Professional trainers and coaching, higher ed. Now, I will say, I have the free version. If I had the premium version, I would get to see more information. They only give me my top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I had the paid version, it would give me maybe 15 or 20 different industries that are looking at me. But I'm too cheap. I won't pay the $85 a month.
Sharon, can you touch on that, on the premium versions, the differences?
Yes. So I will say that I was a premium version user when I was in a business development role because it allowed me to have more features to directly connect with people. But what I found is that I wasn't using all those features enough. If you are 100% salesperson and that's your job is in sales, then it might behoove you to look at the paid feature. And as a salesperson, you could write off the monthly amount. But if you're not a full-time salesperson, I would first start with doing all of the free features before investing into the paid version. I would give that a shot first.
Okay.
Okay.
We have
Can I?
just a few minutes left.
Okay.
Really big question that keeps coming up, and I would love for you to answer this, and so would everybody keeps asking it. Is there a best time to post, day and time?
You know what? When you look at the back end of your analytics, that's when you can see what days have had the most traction. Has anyone ever heard of Hootsuite or Buffer?
Yes.
These are platforms that you can schedule posts and put in, like, let's say you're going to be on vacation next week, but you still want to put out a LinkedIn post. You can upload it to Buffer or Hootsuite and tell it, I'd like it to go out next Wednesday at 10 a.m. And then you schedule it. You put up the image or whatever it is, the content, and then put your copy, and then you schedule it to go out. Afterwards, it will tell you that those platforms will give you the times that it performed best. Now, there are free versions of Hootsuite and free versions of Buffer, and they allow different amounts of information. But on the analytics side is where you can see what day of the week and what time most people have looked at your profile. I know for company pages, UNC Health, I produce a LinkedIn live show for them, and we chose Wednesdays at noon is when we're going to be doing that LinkedIn live, because that's when they've had the most times of interaction and engagement on their LinkedIn page. So it can be very strategic in when you are going to be posting. And it's, again, you have to look at the back end, the analytics, which you have the ability to do.
Okay,
Ooh.
Great. We have 2 minutes left. I don't want to forget to tell you all, and you're all stars here, so give yourselves a big round of applause. Great questions, great engagement, and this has been fantastic. So take advantage of the Big View special. It's a 7-day free trial. If you want to learn more about brand storytelling and how to get your story out to the media, that's my workshop. So check out that link. You'll get a 20% discount because you're here with Big View and us. And Sharon has offered so many valuable things, including access to her research and access to her. So let's all continue the conversation. Let's connect, engage. And Sharon, wrapping it up, one person did just ask about the creator mode. She said, please, 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 can you talk about creator mode?
Yes. So creator
in 30
mode,
seconds.
Sure. Creator mode actually gives you more features. And so I would say yes to creator mode. Absolutely. I'm going to pop one more thing into the chat, Bruno. If you could add this over to everybody else. This is that article I just alluded to that came out with the most recent algorithm research. That's where I pulled those statistics from. I encourage you to look at this link and read more, because it's going to tell you more about what's working right now.
Fantastic. Okay, well, thank you all. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Big View. Thank you, all stars out there. We will see you on the next workshop. Bye for now.
Thank you, everybody.
Hi, I'm Robin Levin, founder of Robin Levin Media. a strategic marketing and PR consulting firm based in Florida. For over 20 years, we've been helping our clients dramatically grow their brand, getting them featured in their dream publications, like this client, Penske Trust Company. If you want to level up your leads, maybe take a look at live selling and use video like Big View, give us a call. Happy to help you out. Thanks for watching.